Iran. Now, there's been no claim of responsibility, but Hamas is already pointing the finger at Israel. Haniyeh was a key figure in the regional resistance to Israel and was also playing a major role in the negotiations on a potential ceasefire.
ABC's Marcus Moore in Beirut, where a top Hezbollah leader was also killed during an airstrike recently. Israel says that was in retaliation for a strike that killed 12 children and teenagers on a soccer field in the occupied Golan Heights. In the Olympics, the triathlon athletes have swam in the Seine in Paris. ABC's Inez de la Cotere.
Okay, and we're live on the video live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and sometimes X, depending on whether Elon Musk charges more money for that or not. Hello and good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My special guests on the WSJM Morning Show today, Kathy Yates, she's the supervisor for Benton Township, and then also Chief Greg Abrams, Police Department for Benton Township. Good morning, and thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We appreciate having you here. Up close and personal, Supervisor Yates, if you wouldn't mind. We'll begin our interview in just a couple of minutes here, but we'll talk about a lot of things that are happening in Benton Township, exciting things that are happening in Benton Township. Although we've got one issue to pick, and I know you're doing a great job on this, about block parties. So we'll talk about that in just a couple minutes. You sure you can't? I can't get you any coffee.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good today.
All right.
But then I might have to get up and leave, go to the bathroom.
All right.
So let's just stick with the.
All right. Good enough. All right. We're going to do our local news and we'll get to sports and weather in just a couple of minutes. Thanks for joining us on the WSJM Morning Show. And taking a look at the temperature outside right now, it's 73 degrees in Benton Harbor, 73 in St. Joseph, 70 over in Dowagiac, 71 in South Haven, and in Buchanan right now, it's 71 degrees, 73 in New Buffalo. So you get the picture. It's going to be a little bit warm today. Our weather forecast is looking at partly cloudy skies, a 30% chance of showers and storms, a high today around 90 degrees, but it's going to feel hotter because the humidity is already at 94%. And so it'll feel like it's a little bit sweltering. So take that into account if you're going to be active outside today. Tonight's forecast does call for partly cloudy skies, a 50% chance of showers and storms, a low overnight around 70. So it's still going to be a bit sticky. And then Thursday, we've got partly sunny skies. Again, a 50% chance of showers and storms, a high around 88 degrees. I'm Ken Lundberg. This is the WSJM Morning Show. In just a few minutes, we're going to begin an interview. And we've already started it a little bit on the video live stream. So in just a minute, we're going to begin an interview with our Benton Township leaders. We've got Supervisor Kathy Yates here and Police Chief Greg Abrams. So we'll be talking to them about a lot of things that are happening in Benton Township. In the news that we're following this morning, the organization New Heights CCDA held a Benton Heights community dinner last night to hear from candidates for public office in Benton Township. About 75 community leaders gathered to hear 7 area candidates running in the upcoming primary elections. Executive Director Chris Britton said he pulled the event together to help give community members a voice with the candidates who are running for public office.
I think people out here so often felt like they weren't heard or they weren't seen. And so this allows them to feel heard and to feel seen, and then encourages them to share their voice, helping the community. I believe it's helping them to feel encouraged and to feel energized to go out and be the change that they want to see in their community.
Candidates introduced themselves and had an opportunity to talk about their policy platforms before mingling for community small talk. Britton says that's what the event was really all about.
I think it was great. Our goal, and my goal, is to be a conduit, is to create capacity to bring people together, and that's how change happens. From my vantage point of what I wanted to accomplish through this and what the organization wanted to accomplish, this is exactly how we wanted it to be.
New Heights CCDA is an area nonprofit operating auto retail and repair services, a community food distribution network, and a laundry hub in Southwest Michigan. The Berrien County Clerk's Office has a few things to share with voters as Tuesday's elections approach. Clerk Sharon Tyler tells us early voting is now underway. Although turnout has been low, she expects more people will start showing up as the early voting option becomes better well known. As for the election day itself, Tyler has advice for voters who support the write-in candidates, and we do have some of those in Berrien County this time around.
We have a lot of write-ins, and what happens with write-ins, people get excited and put the name in as the write-in, and then they forget to color in the oval. Make sure you color in the oval, otherwise that vote does not count, and we want to make sure that all votes count.
Tyler says write-in candidates do have to file with the clerk's office and follow an official process. Those that don't simply won't be counted.
A lot of people say, I wrote my name in on the ballot. Unless it's a legitimate write-in, we won't know how many votes you received.
Tyler reminds everyone not to cross party lines in the primary, meaning you can only vote in one party's primary. Crossing over will spoil that section of your ballot. Also, remember to bring a photo ID. If you forget that, you'll have to sign a document affirming your identity and then return later to prove it. Election results will be posted to the clerk's website as they become available. We will also have all the results coming up Wednesday morning right here on WSJM. And we told you earlier this week about Benton Harbor community leaders concerned about a litter problem at some of their parks. Well, one volunteer group is already working to change that. The Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber's Next Gen Young Professionals program held their event last Friday, and it was a community cleanup. Volunteers turned out to clean up a few area parks and streets. The Chamber's Jasmine Hansen said the experience is about helping communities and also about building a foundation for business collaboration and career growth.
Being able to give back to the Southwest Michigan regional area is huge for us, and we hope and look forward to being able to do more trash pickups in other entities or other counties as well.
In its first year back since the pandemic, Next Gen Young Professionals helps emerging leaders build a strong professional network and make connections for future career endeavors. The program is offered to young professionals ages 21 through 40. The group is looking to have more events in Berrien, Cass, and Van Buren counties. For those interested in joining or partnering with the program, we have a link at our website, WSJM.com. And one more story from up north. The Van Buren County Sheriff's Department has acquired a new canine unit, and it's been named in honor of a fallen first responder from Paw Paw. WSJM's Andrew Green has this story.
The department says K9 Quillen will be replacing the recently retired Kuno, who served Van Buren County for 7 years. Quillen is named for Paw Paw Fire Department Lieutenant Ethan Quillen, who died in the line of duty in February of 2023. Ethan Quillen was killed at the scene of a downed power line during a storm in Elmina Township. The Sheriff's Department says K9 Quillen is a German Shepherd Belgian Malinois mix born in Poland in September of 2022. Deputy Eric Calhoun is his handler, and the two attended a 6-week basic training class in Berrien Center. On K9 Quillen's first day of service, he found drugs hidden under the hood of a stopped vehicle. Van Buren County Sheriff Dan Abbott calls that a, quote, perfect first day of work. Andrew Green, WSJM News.
73 degrees, 7:09 is the time. It is the WSJM Morning Show. Thanks for joining us. We also have the video live stream going on YouTube and Facebook. Just look for WSJM. We're going to begin our interview in just a couple of minutes after sports and weather right here on WSJM. Okay. And we are live on the video live stream for a couple of minutes while we wait for the sports and the weather. And once again, good morning to those of you joining the video live stream today on WSJM, YouTube, or Facebook, wherever your platform of preference is. And special guests today, Kathy Yates, Township Supervisor for Benton Township, and Greg Abrams. He's the Chief of the Police Department for Benton Township. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And we are proud residents, with WSJM, the Midwest family, in Benton Township. So thanks for being here and doing all the things that you do. We have a lot of things to talk about this morning.
Sounds great.
Okay. Let's see. Sorry, the fries are ready. That's the sound out, and we don't actually make French fries here. No, that's our silence alarm. So whenever there's silence on one of the 7 radio stations that we have here in this building, the signals emanate. The siren goes off so that somebody gets up and takes care of it. And you heard that was pretty quick.
Yes.
In addition to the block party story, which I'll set a little bit of the foundation for that as we begin our interview, maybe we can talk a little bit about some of the park activity that's happening here, which is you've got that Spark grant, which was what was that, like $1 million?
$1 million.
That's insane.
It is wonderful.
How much park can $1 million buy?
Well, we're going to still have
We're
to
gonna
add
find
to
out,
that,
huh?
but yes, but we're going to build a park.
Okay, that's exciting. Okay, what's it going to be named? Do you know?
It's Butler Park.
Butler Park.
Yes.
Very nice. Okay, so we'll talk about that, the Spark grant. We'll talk a little bit about Ox Creek. You're headed after this interview. You're headed over to LMC for that, right?
Yes, to the Ox Creek Summit.
Okay, the Ox Creek Summit is happening, and my understanding is there's probably about 70 people who are going to
Yes.
be showing up there today.
It is my understanding also.
Okay, and then we can also maybe we can talk about the seagulls at Orchards Mall. Sorry, we do that story a lot because there are so many seagulls, and people tell us about the seagulls all the time. So we'll start our interview in just a moment right here on WSJM.
88. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
And thank you for joining us on the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. It's Wednesday, last day of July. Once again, another month flown by. Maybe you have your Christmas shopping started. Maybe it's already done. I usually wait until December 24th to get my Christmas shopping done. No, but it doesn't feel at all like Christmas outside. It's 94% humidity and 73 degrees, and we're heading toward a high today of 90 degrees, which means it's gonna be hot. We have in the studio this morning 2 of the leaders of Benton Township. We have Supervisor Kathy Yates, and we have Police Chief Greg Abrams. Thank you both for joining us in the studio this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
One of the things that we asked you to talk about this morning is block parties. And just for those of you who have not heard the news story, earlier this week, WSJM was the first to report that there's been a rising concern, at least what we've heard, and you've probably been concerned about this for much longer, but there's been a rising concern recently about the ongoing issue of block parties, illegal block parties. And what those are is they're just impromptu parties that happen on public or private properties. There's no permit for them. They go until the wee hours of the morning. And full disclosure, here at Midwest Family, we're on East Napier Avenue. And we have a parking lot next to a food establishment that stays open very late, well past midnight. And looking at the closed circuit camera tapes just this weekend, we had more cars in the parking lot at 3:49 in the morning than we've had in the busiest times during the day. So I guess maybe we can start there. And I don't know who wants to address this first, but talking about the illegal block party problem, how do you view it and what's being done about it?
I'll start with it first.
Chief Abrams.
So when it comes to block parties, I wouldn't consider what was going on to be a block party. A block party has many moving parts in order to get one established. You have to have permission from the road departments. You have to have permission from your residents, and licensing from the department. So
that's a legal block party. We're talking about illegal.
Right. That's a legal block party. So I call these gatherings.
Okay.
And I call them gatherings because it's what some of our citizens do in the community when they have nowhere else to go. They go from spot to spot, location, just to hang out. And that's what happened this past weekend. We had a group of people who came from a block party in the city of Benton Harbor. And the only place that was open during that time when they left was New York Fried Chicken.
Okay.
I was able to speak with the owners of New York Fried Chicken yesterday, and they own most of the gas stations, and they shut down these gas stations because of the gatherings at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So now the gas stations are shut down. So guess where they're coming now?
Yeah, different
New York
place.
Fried Chicken.
Okay, because it's open and it's providing at least an establishment where you can get some sort of food or drink or whatever.
Yes.
And it becomes a social spot.
Yes. And talking with these gentlemen, I call them the same brothers. They all own the business. I told them about a lot of things that were wrong. I needed to let them know that there are times where the police need to be called when you see a large gathering. If you see more people outside in your parking lot than you see customers inside ordering food, give us a call, because that situation is going to grow into something that you can't control. And we've actually made an arrest out there because of two group of girls that were fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've seen that where and this was not a Benton Township incident. So there was a Benton Harbor incident in May where somebody was fatally shot.
That's
right?
correct.
And others were wounded. And then that happened again in the wee hours of the morning, 2 a.m., somewhere around there. And then part of the concern for police then became, are they gathering at Corewell Health at the emergency room to continue whatever altercation was happening there? So you see how the public safety is concerned. So how do you get a handle on these other than talking with the business owners?
Well, actually, the business owners is the key.
Okay.
I spoke to Gurpreet Singh, and I gave him some advice. Shut the business down when you see that you have too many people who won't leave. Call the police so we can clear out the crowds early. Put up signage in front of your business that states no loitering. Vehicles parked illegally will be towed. All these things will stop a lot of the riffraff that comes to that location just to do whatever they want to do instead of just being a good customer, ordering food and leaving.
Are there other steps that business owners who maybe aren't open at that time, us, for instance, Toyota down the street, the sign store next door, who often see the overflow of that, are there additional steps that we should be taking to help with this situation?
It's definitely going to take, just like any community, it's going to take business owners as well to monitor their property. So when they see a problem from maybe their camera systems, they can give us a call so we can clear these things out early. We have stepped up patrols in this area. As a matter of fact, when I heard about the situation that was going on, we immediately put out a letter to our patrol divisions, and we contacted the county and state police saying, hey, can you guys, when our guys are busy, can you just check, these areas to make sure there are no gatherings?
Yeah. And last question on this one for you, Chief Abrams. What I think of it, and I think many people think of it as a balloon, right? The balloon's filled with air. You push in one area, another area is going to pop out. How does this issue eventually get resolved ultimately? And maybe Chief, that's not for you. Maybe that's for you, Supervisor Yates.
But as an agency, we have to be prepared no matter where it happens in the township. We'll be talking with legal about this, but we plan to make arrests and show people that we mean business, because our residents need to feel that if they need to come out for some reason in the wee hours of the morning due to sickness to the hospital
right,
or to a store, that they're going to be safe and not have to run into this. So we're very serious about this, and we will put a handle on it. I did also talk to Mr. Crowder at Toyota yesterday. I went in for a different issue, and we talked about that, and he showed me signage that he has.
Okay.
And so if people go in and violate that, we're going to first probably give them a warning, then a ticket, and then they probably will get arrested.
Yeah.
You just can't keep trampling on people's rights. This is the United States of America, and everybody deserves to have fair and equal treatment.
Yeah. Are you able to monitor any social media like the Facebook and wherever else they're posting about these parties? Is that part of the strategy right now?
Yes, it is. Matter of fact, I have one in my phone right now where someone is trying to have a party in the township and somewhere in middle August, and we've already jumped in it already.
Okay.
It's not going to happen. We're not going to let it happen.
Okay.
So yes, we have different people in the area, from the city, from the township, who monitors Facebook pages, and when these flyers pop up, then we make ourselves a guest.
Yeah,
if you will.
Uninvited guests.
Uninvited guests.
The Benton Township Police Department.
Right.
No. I would invite you to my party. I think that'd be fun. But and it is, and the seriousness of the issue, it's not only public safety in the area of bodily harm or injury that could happen if a fight breaks out, but it's also the property damage. And just referencing our story of earlier this week over at Signature Toyota, they have suffered about $100,000 in damage in the last 12 months. That's what they say, which is $20,000 for damage to their new inventory, and then $80,000 damage to other property elements that are on their company property. And so it's a serious and potentially economically chilling activity that happens. So thank you for going after it. And if there's anything else that you want to report on that, we'd be happy to hear that as well. But talking about the police and resources for Benton Township, block parties are a serious issue for the things that we just talked about. However, public safety, you don't often think about, okay, well, where are the police going to come from if they're focused on block parties? How's the resourcing and how's the staffing going overall? Supervisor, you want to talk first?
Yes,
Chief Yates or Chief
so
Abram?
Since I've become chief, we've hired several new officers. Currently, I have 3 officers in the LMC Police Academy, Lake Michigan College Police Academy.
Okay.
Those 3 officers will be graduating August 29th.
Excellent.
I have 1 officer slated to go to the Kalamazoo Academy August 19th. So that's going to be 4 additional officers on the road. And then I had a young man I interviewed yesterday who seemed like a great candidate. He'll be going to the Kalamazoo Academy as well. So our staffing is going well. There's a lot of things that happened in the past that shouldn't have happened when it came to staffing. I'm a Benton Township resident. My mom still lives in the area. I mean, so everything that goes on around here affects me, as well as my deputy chief. He lives in the township as well. So we take these things personal because I've worked in this area for, like I said, over 30 years. And we just can't stand by and just let things happen and not give it some special attention. My boss here, Kathy Yates, Carolyn Phillips, and the rest of the board members, they assist and guide us in areas where I think the police need to be more efficient at. And we take those things to heart and we deal with them.
Okay. You mentioned, just a side question here, you mentioned the LMC Academy. You have 3 graduates coming from that soon in August.
Yes.
And then you have a couple more coming from Kalamazoo. How do you choose where to send them to Academy? LMC versus Kalamazoo?
Well, normally it's based on the time period that these academies are open, because you have candidates coming in throughout the year, but most police academies are only running academies twice a year.
Okay.
So we try to pick and choose the ones that are running their academy. We send them as far as Battle Creek, Washtenaw, Grand Rapids area. So wherever there's an academy at, we will send them based on the time period that they apply to our department if they pass our background investigation.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
And you've been in the role as chief for 1.5 years.
Yes.
About 1.5 years. She's not listening right now. How's your boss? I'm just kidding.
Very supportive. Everything, we've been on the same page when it comes to this community so far, and if I happen to be a little bit off, she'll correct me so you can be a little bit back on. And, and we talk a lot. We text, we talk about things just like you were calling a friend, say, hey, how's this going? And she'll give me information on these things and we'll go deal with them. So it's been great. The communication's been awesome.
That's great. That's good to hear. Supervisor Yates, how do you feel about the resources that you've given to the police department? How are they doing?
Well, I feel that we are top notch with that. If they need something in order to get the job done, the board and I will see that they get that.
How's the overall state of public safety in Benton Township, would you say?
I would say it's well. Plus, we have the Sheriff Department and the Michigan State Police to assist us when needed.
Okay.
But we have more staff now than we had when I first came to office.
Do you feel like you're fully staffed up right now?
No.
We're not. We're about, once these 4 candidates come out the police academy, then we're going to need at least 4 more to have a full staff department, which is honestly, we haven't been that staffed in such a long time. But recruiting is just going great. I have a lot of people who wants to work for our department now who are coming to me and saying, hey, how can I work for your department? Which to me is a wonderful thing at this point, because you never really see that in this time and age, somebody actually coming to you saying,
yeah,
how can I work for your department?
You got to tell us what the secret recipe is there, because a lot of basically every other law enforcement folks that we've talked with, leader that we've talked with, says recruitment is like their number one problem. Recruitment and some cases retention. So what's the ingredient secret recipe here?
We want people to feel like they're family, that they come into a family versus an employment, so that they feel comfortable in what they do. They can feel safe and secure. and go home at night. And we want our citizens to know, if you call us, we're there for you.
Anything to add to that, Chief?
I've been helping build relationships in the community I grew up in for 30 years. People know me, they trust me. They know that if there's an issue, the police department is going to deal with it. We're not just going to sweep it under the rug or give you some kind of lip service and keep walking. We deal with issues that come to us, and they understand that. And we try to put on a friendly face while we're doing it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to see a friendly face at your worst time,
Yeah.
that you may be going through in life.
Absolutely.
And if something happened, I'm not opposed to being there with them.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. We're talking with Benton Township Supervisor Kathy Yates and Benton Township Police Chief Greg Abrams. It's the WSJM Morning Show. We'll have more of this interview, talk about some of the other things that are happening in Benton Township, including some of the business developments that are happening, some of the business challenges, including Orchards Mall, one of our favorite seagull watching places to visit, is coming up in just a few moments here on the WSJM Morning Show.
Loan rates are trending downward. Are you ready to make your move? Sturgis Bank's
Okay, the listeners on the radio are going to hear the Bloomberg Market Minute in just a moment. I don't actually go down there to watch the seagulls. I do some from time to time, because we've taken some video. For those people who are watching the Orchards Mall situation and understanding it, you've been involved in discussions, on and off discussions, I would say, probably with local officials and even with the owners of that property.
I have.
What's the current state? Well, maybe lay a little bit of a foundation. What has that been like in the past to deal directly with the owners of the mall?
Well, first of all, we started dealing with the manager that they had, who is Christine Casadata, I think.
Yep. Which, by the way, full disclosure, you're running against her in the primary for.
That is correct. But she was the mall manager at the time, and I dealt with her for about 2 years and talking about the seagull. And she was getting some companies to come in to give bids on how they could do it in a safe way because they're a protected species. I understand.
Yep.
But getting more involved, I found out that that's really a DNR.
Mm-hmm.
And really, in talking with DNR out of Detroit, they want local to stay out of it. They've asked me to stay out of it. They want to control it. They've been sending people down here. And some of the things that's been said is not accurate because they've not been the one to put it out. And they said it's more on they're following the federal rules more than the state rules. And they will continue to come down and monitor, but they did not want us to do any local ordinances about the seagulls. They want to have freedom to come in and take care of things. But right now, there's no threat to society about any germs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the seagulls are pretty much at the mall, some at Myers, but Myers seem to have a way to deflect them.
Yeah.
And I think by the mall not having business there, they've just found a home. That's what most of them are.
Do you see that issue being resolved anytime soon, or are the seagulls basically going to stay there?
Well, in talking with the mall manager, he's going to be coming in from New York to speak with me in the next few months, and we're going to come up with a strategy on how we're going to move that mall forward.
Okay.
It is his property, has to be his idea because he's paid the taxes and he has a right to the mall. Most people think that things can happen. No, we cannot take people property. This is the United States of America. You cannot take things from
They were
people.
close to it. They've been close to it
They've
a
been
number of
close,
times by
but
not
he
paying their
paid
taxes.
every dime of his taxes.
Yeah.
And so now we're going to talk about how we can move forward as a community.
His 2023 taxes are still outstanding.
Yes.
He's paid up through 2022, but 2023 are still outstanding. And the clock, for those who don't know, the clock sets it's a 3-year clock basically.
It is a 3-year clock.
Yeah.
That's why we're going to try
that's got to make it tough.
We're going to try to work with him so something can happen within our community positive.
Yeah.
We want to show the friendly hand. And if he has some plans that will work, our building department will let him know that they're workable. It is commercial, so it has to be treated as such. It cannot be rezoned to something else. It is commercial property.
Okay. I'm going to ask you about a trust level. I'm going to give you a scale of 1 to 10, what your trust is with the owners of the mall.
Well, it's going to be on the
1 being the least, 10 being the most.
I'm going to to say it's about a 3 right now
Okay.
because they have not kept their word very much. But he's telling me he's moving forward in a more positive direction. Paying the taxes kind of got him to that 3 with
Sure.
me.
Okay.
And so when he comes and if he have plans and our building department is able to work with him, that will move him to a 5.
Okay. All right. We'll come back and talk a little bit more about that. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
A meeting today, and Chair Jay Powell is expected to signal a potential interest rate cut for September. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
All right, it's WSJM Morning Show. It's continuing. 73 degrees and partly cloudy skies out right now. 74 over in St. Joseph. We're heading to a high today of 90. This is going to be the hot one of the week. And let's see, I'm going to do some behind-the-scenes stuff while we're still on the air here because we're going to hear ABC News in just a moment. And then we're going to continue our interview with the Benton Township leadership. We've got Supervisor Kathy Yates here. We also have Chief Abrams. He's with the Benton Township Police Department, and they're talking about a number of issues. We just started talking about it on the video live stream about the Orchards Mall. So we'll continue and wrap up that conversation. Then we'll talk about some of the other business activity happening in Benton Township. That's right here on the WSJM Morning Show. We'll be right back.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
And as I mentioned, we're looking at 73 degrees outside right now. Some of the news that we're covering from the WSJM Newsroom, the news that we'll tell you about at 8 o'clock, the Berrien County Health Department issued a no swim advisory for Warren Dunes State Park on Tuesday after high E. coli levels were found in the water. Berrien County Health Officer Guy Miller telling us they test the water at 14 locations around the county each Monday. And if E. coli is high at any of those locations, follow-up tests are performed. And that's what was happening Tuesday at Warren Dunes. Miller expected Warren Dunes to be back open to swimming in short order, but they have to let the tests prove that out first. They expect to update the website later today, Beach Guard, to let you know when the beaches are back open again. We'll also have it at our website, WSJM.com. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers will begin dredging in the St. Joseph Harbor this week. Spokesperson Brandon Hubbard tells us they'll dredge 29,500 cubic yards of shoaling, that's the sand that naturally filters into the channel there, near the entrance to the harbor starting Thursday. They intend to finish up by late August. The Corps maintains the harbor and the river to keep those areas open to both the Coast Guard and to commercial vessels. Hubbard says the dredged sand is also put to good use. They're going to place it back on the shoreline at the beaches south of Park Street down to Lions Park Beach. Hubbard says this is hydraulic dredging, so they want you to avoid the active dredging and placement areas during the work, as well as any areas marked with orange cones and caution tape. More on that coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. And then finally today, representatives of federal, state, and local government will be at Lake Michigan College, including Kathy Yates, the Benton Township Supervisor, who's our guest this morning, for a summit on Ox Creek. Southwest Michigan Planning Commission Deputy Director Marcy Hamilton tells us efforts to revitalize Ox Creek, stretching from US 31 to the Pawpaw River, have been ongoing for several years now, and more than $7 million has been secured since 2022. The creek has been affected by runoff from farms and retail areas. Hamilton says representatives of the EPA, the City of Benton Harbor, Benton Township will be on hand. Among the speakers will be Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy Director Phil Roos. So all those stories and more coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. It is the WSJM Morning Show. We'll continue in just a moment.
The Michigan News Network.
I'm Beth Fisher. Vice President Kamala Harris will make her first stop in Michigan as the likely Democratic nominee for president next week in Detroit. Harris is expected to be joined in Michigan by the person she chooses to be her running mate, according to her campaign. Details of the trip to Detroit haven't been released yet. It's another sign of troubled times in the auto industry. Auburn Hills-based Stellantis has announced another round of voluntary layoffs. It's unclear how many of the company's 11,000 white-collar workers will be eligible for this round. A teenage girl was riding in a golf cart and injured in a hit-and-run crash in mid-Michigan's Canadian Lakes in Morton Township. Wood TV reports a car sideswiped the golf cart and fled the scene last night. The Mecosta County Sheriff's Office says a 17-year-old Colorado girl was flown to a Grand Rapids hospital by AeroMed. 3 others on the golf cart had non-life-threatening injuries. I'm Beth Fisher for the Michigan News Network.
An official message from Medicare.
A new law is helping me save more money on prescription drug costs. You may be able to save too. With Medicare's Extra Help program, my premium is $0 and my out-of-pocket costs are low. Who should apply? Single people making less than $23,000 a year or married couples who make less than $31,000 a year. Even if you don't think you qualify, it pays to find out.
Go to ssa.gov/extra help. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
All right, back on the video live stream. Chief Abrams, I have a question about the academy out at LMC.
Sure.
Do they have a driving course?
You know, I'm glad you asked that question.
Okay.
They do have a driving course they set up to use. If I'm not mistaken, on the property itself.
Okay.
Right now, I'm not sure which vehicle they're using, but Benton Township, we just made a deal with Lake Michigan College and Brad Byerly, who's the coordinator of the police academy. They purchased one of our older patrol vehicles that's still in relatively good shape for a very cheap price. So I have to get that cleaned up today. So because he's going to take ownership of that.
Well, wait a second. What kind of good deal? Because I love old police cars. You guys have the best police car. I mean, the best vehicles. You've got the souped up engine. They've got the best suspension.
Yes.
All kinds of cool stuff.
Police package. So we sold it to the college for $1,500.
Oh man.
It is
I'll give you 1,501.
And you know, and myself and Deputy Chief, we really wanted to do this.
Oh, that's great.
And Township wanted to do this because, you know, this academy, from what I'm hearing, they used to have this academy a long time ago. And we're just excited to be a part of it because we actually have officers who teach at that academy as well. So it's just great to be involved in that adventure, as well as the city of Benton Harbor. They also have officers teaching at that academy.
That's great.
So he came to me and wanted, it's Brad Byerly, wanted to know if we had any police cars that we were going to auction off or that they could buy from us. And we came up with a price that was great for the academy and the college. And they'll be taking possession of that vehicle pretty much any day now.
That's outstanding. That's great. And it will help train officers or future officers in a vehicle that was actually used for law enforcement without incurring that additional expense.
It's pretty good to be involved like that.
That's great. Okay. Now I will also say I want to drive that car when it's at the academy and I want to do the course.
All right. I'll let Mr. Brad Byerly know.
Okay, good. All right, good. We'll get back to our interview in just a moment. And then also want to talk about, people want to know about restaurants. So maybe we can talk a little bit about some of the business development activity that's been happening with regards to Benton Township and what the strategy has been and what it looks like going forward as those big names, and we'll talk about them in a second, come into town and prepare to lure customers in. Okay? All right. We're talking with Kathy Yates. She's the Benton Township Supervisor, and Police Chief Greg Abrams with Benton Township as well. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
88. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
And good morning. It's 7:40. WSJM Morning Show, Wednesday, July 31st, last day of the month. If you were up early enough, you saw a pretty moon this morning, just a sliver of it was peeking out. And then also a couple of the big planets were shining next to it. I think they were Jupiter and Mars. I think that's what we see in the morning time right now. Venus and Mercury are the evening ones, and then Jupiter and Mars are the morning ones. But we're having a discussion this morning with Benton Township Supervisor Kathy Yates and Benton Township Police Chief Greg Abrams. And one of the things that we started our conversation with was we've called them illegal block parties. You call them illegal gatherings, Chief. Since you have the badge and the firearm, I'm going to go with what you're saying. So no. But these gatherings have been a concern to business owners, in part because of the property damage that they incur when they say that some of these gatherings happen. But you're saying that potentially the damage on property is inclusive of a lot more than these illegal gatherings.
That's correct. So in talking with Mr. Crowder, who owns Signature Toyota, we had a great talk about some of the things that were happening, some of his concerns, and everything from trash to things getting damaged. And so when I talked to him about, the complaints he had on this property, and I did a statistical breakdown, it showed that we've had, in 2022, we had 17 calls for service. There were a variety of calls. In 2023, we have 4 calls for service on this property, which were a variety of calls. In 2024, we had 12 calls for service on his property. The dollar amount that I believe he lost came from vehicles attempting to be stolen, mostly the Kias and Hondas. He has some converter thefts. He has some frauds. Now, these added up, as far as I'm concerned, to most of the amount of money that he lost instead of a sporadic gathering that was stated in Town Crier Wire that he told me about in the beginning, and that I also read. So his loss was mostly due to thefts and vandalism, and they weren't a part of any illegal gathering from all the reports that I read.
Yeah.
So
I think one of those, what Mr. Crowder said was that the $20,000 in damage was to the some new inventory that was on the lot. And during some illegal trespass, I don't know if it was a block party or just somebody doing donuts on the big parking lot there because it was an open area. It sounds like a car got out of control and hit a couple other cars, which these days, that kind of thing can really add up. But regardless, you do have a strategy on how to and you've been doing this as well, is how to get a handle on these block parties. And just summarize again what's going to happen going forward.
What's going to happen going forward is we're going to have more patrol out doing that area. And since we've already talked with the owners of New York Fried Chicken, it seems like where this is all coming from, they've gave us their word. They're going to make some changes, big changes, to the point where they're going to even have someone inside their building come outside just to check the area. And if it's out of control, then they're going to give us a call. We have state and county resources that are going to help out. Exactly the times they're going to do this, I don't know. But myself and the deputy chief, we're also planning on being out on patrol, because I think that's what we have to do. We're not far from the road. We came from the road to our positions. So everything's still fresh in our head on how to handle crowds. We worked when the bars were open, crowds, DNR, the Sheiks. I mean, all the bar situations that we used to have back in the day, we still have that, how to deal with those things freshly in our mind. So we're going to try to apply those skills once again to the issues that we're having right now.
Okay. That's good to hear. And for business owners or citizens alike, if you see one of these, what you think is an illegal gathering, what should they do?
Just give us a call. Call dispatch, say, hey, we got a lot of cars, noise, music, fighting, or I heard shots fired. Give us a call. We will be there.
Okay. All right. Supervisor Yates, anything to add to that?
I support his efforts, and I know that they're going to keep us all safe.
Okay. Very good. Anything more on that before we move on to a different topic? Go ahead.
I know Our patrol was out to talk to the owners yesterday, but I do plan to go and talk to the owners of the New York Fried Chicken myself, because maybe we need to contain hours for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. And what would that look like?
Well, I would like to make some agreement with them that that they could shorten their hours a little bit until this is under control,
Okay.
because apparently it's only happening near their business.
Yeah. Yeah. And starting there and then spilling
Right.
over into the other areas
Right.
as well.
Which
Okay.
causes other people headaches.
Yes. Yes. Very much so. Our general manager, Dave Deutsch, might say hi on the way out.
Okay.
So, we have other issues that we want to talk about. You've got a lot of economic activity. We do have our Moody on the Market update coming up, but let's start that business update a little bit early. There have been a lot of businesses that have decided to call Benton Township home recently, big name businesses. You want to run us through the list?
Well, the ones I can share is Starbucks, Chick-fil-A,
Mm-hmm.
Jersey Mike. And then we have the car wash coming on the corner.
Right.
I've forgotten its name.
Yep.
But then we got the other businesses that are there. And I'm told through a news release that the post office is now looking for a location
Mm-hmm.
to come back. So we're hoping to have a location for the mall for the post office to come, because Benton Charter Township will reserve the right to be the home of the sub post office.
Yeah, that was a big probably final blow, it feels like, to Orchards Mall when the US Postal Service finally decided we can no longer operate here for whatever reason. And so that left Benton Township residents without a post office to go to unless they wanted to go right into Benton Harbor, which is I guess what they've had to do.
That's what we've had to do.
But you're hearing that the post office is still looking within Benton Township?
Yeah, I have a news release on it.
Okay, I want
Well-
to see. I want to see that.
Okay.
Okay, and so Starbucks, Jersey Mike's, Chick-fil-A, the car wash that's going to replace the former Rite Aid that was down on the corner here
is
on
correct.
East Napier. Which ones can't you tell us about?
I can't say right now.
How many are we?
So it's the same question. Is this something I don't know?
How many are we looking at?
Well, we're looking probably at about four the new business. Also, Tractor Supply is coming
Okay.
to Benton Township.
Okay. Okay. What is it that is luring these businesses in, would you say?
I think they feel they can work with the current staff. I'm not saying that the other staff was bad or anything, but it was COVID. People were struggling financially. I think now that money is a little bit more freer, that they're feeling that they can work with us. I've had people call me from Chicago, Southfield, and other places saying that they're looking at land in our township. Plus, we have a lot of land to share. We can do businesses as well as restaurants. Whatever it is, Benton Township can house it right now because we have the space.
Yeah.
And we have the water and the sewer in certain areas that will make a perfect home for many businesses that want to come here.
And speaking of a lot of space, there's a lot of space at Orchards Mall. We talked about it just a little bit on the video live stream. So if you want to catch the full conversation, go back and watch that. But we left it at you're thinking about an upcoming meeting that you're going to have with the manager or the owner
That is correct.
at the mall and talk about housing. Can you elaborate on what that conversation will entail?
Well, he has a plan, and he has not told me the full scope of it. But in my words to him, it has to pass through our housing department, our building people.
Yep.
So when he calls me with a possible date, we're all going to sit down at the table and we're going to talk about if this is a reality. Because some things that come to us have not been reality. The Orchards Mall is commercial, and it has to stay that way. That is the zoning for it. I don't look for the board to change that. And the board consists of 7 people, just not my vote. It takes 7 people to change that. And I just don't see that happening in the future, because we want to see commercial buildings there. And that's a nice place too, once it is updated for restaurants, stores. It was thriving in the good years, and I'd love to see it thriving again. I don't look for that all to happen in one piece. I look for it to be piecemeal through, maybe a third at a time. But I do hope to see that Orchard Mall functioning again, and new businesses coming in there, whatever they may be.
Do you is there room for discussion on adding housing to that commercial zoning designation?
At this time, no, because it's not zoned for housing.
I mean, you could rezone it.
Well, the board could rezone it.
Right.
And I don't see the board doing that
Why not?
because of the stores around it. They feel it would be more problematic because of theft. And I'm not saying everybody's going to steal, but that's
Right.
a possibility. It may be a sore thorn for Meijer or from Walmart or Lowe's. We want to keep it so it's productive, so it's meeting the needs of our people. And we need more shopping places. We need more food places. We need for a person to be able to take their family out to a dinner and be able to sit there and enjoy a steak, a lobster, whatever the case may be. We're reaching out to these vendors, asking them to make Benton Charter Township their home for a restaurant. And we haven't lost sight of that.
Will you let us know when you meet with the Orchards Mall
Yes,
team?
I can do that.
Okay, thank you. Because we'd love to give an update on that, because it's a huge piece of property and it's sitting unproductive, except for the gulls. They love it.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's only one store there,
yeah,
and that's the Open Box Factory.
Yeah.
And they seem to be doing well for some reason. And I applaud them for that. For their
okay,
efforts.
all right. I've been in that store. It's an interesting location. I will say that.
It is.
If I had a hotel, I would go there first to furnish it. All right. We're going to continue our discussion, wrap it up here in just a moment. We're talking with Benton Township Supervisor Kathy Yates and also Benton Township Police Chief Greg Abrams. It's coming up in just a moment. We'll conclude our interview with the Moody on the Market update.
This is your Shamrock Impact Update, informing you of the ways in which Berrien Springs Public Schools makes a difference through innovation and creativity in education. Berrien Springs Public Schools offers unique alternative programming. The Virtual Academy is a K-12 school with fully certified teachers. This includes traditional, online classes, CTE, and dual enrollment. At the Discovery Academy, students with academic challenges in a traditional classroom setting are able to get the flexibility and one-on-one attention they need to succeed and graduate. Families who desire a more parent-led traditional feel to their child's education can now enroll in the Bookshark program or take advantage of the educational class opportunities through the Parent Partnership.
This is Valerie Carr, Director of the Virtual Academy. I'd like to invite you to visit homeoftheshamrocks.org to learn more about how students experience the Shamrock Way at Berrien Springs Public Schools. Berrien Springs Public Schools, together inspiring students to think, learn, achieve, and care in a global community.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough. But if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Johnny for my friends at Renaissance Athletic Club. They would love to see you at 501 Graham Avenue in Benton Harbor. Stop by, check the place out, see their amazing facilities indoors and outdoors, and stop by and learn more about their group fitness classes that they have. You know, getting motivated sometimes can be hard by yourself, but if you've got a group around you, it's a great experience. And group exercise classes are experiences created and taught by talented fitness instructors who will test your limits and inspire results. So whether you're a fitness enthusiast or you're just starting out, their classes cater to all levels. Embrace the energy of group workouts. Watch your fitness goals become a reality. If you want to learn more about how you can be part of these group fitness classes and also get an exclusive offer of no dues until September, visit and stop by their offices and meet Membership Service Director Chris. He's a great guy. He'll tell you all about it. And you can also see all the other wonderful things that they have to offer at Renaissance Athletic Club, 501 Graham Avenue in Benton Harbor. And you can check out their website as well, racbh.com.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
All right, here we go. Back on the air. You were telling us which restaurants are coming in that we don't know about yet. No, I'm just kidding. We are here with. We're going to wrap up our conversation with Benton Township Supervisor Kathy Yates and Benton Township Police Chief Greg Abrams. And a couple of the things. This is the Moody on the Market update right now, because we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that make Southwest Michigan great. Moody on the Market update is brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. We've got 3 things to talk about before we let you go. And 2 of them are for Supervisor Yates, and then 1 of them for Chief Abrams. The first 2, Ox Creek and the Spark Grant, allowing for a new park in Benton Township. What's your role today at the Ox Creek Summit happening at LMC?
Well, today I am a member of that because the Ox Creek flows through Benton Charter Township. Ox Creek has been flowing through the 2 communities for more than 100 years, carrying water from about 1/16 of a square mile in Benton Township and Bainbridge Township onto the Pawpaw River to St. Joe and then to the Lake Michigan. Very little attention has been given to this creek and the valley that it surrounds until now. And the summit today is going to explain that to about 70-some people who plan to attend. And I plan to be there to welcome them to our community.
Excellent. What's your vision? What do you see as the future of Ox Creek?
I see it joining the 2 communities together where people will be able to walk that path, ride it, and also do a walking trail around that connects to other communities.
Excellent. Okay. And we'll be reporting on the summit that happens today at Ox Creek. And so look for our reporters there. Also, Spark Grant. We've also reported this in the news. You've got a new park coming because of a huge grant, $1 million coming from the state.
That is true. It's going to be Butler Park in Benton Heights. And when we wrote for the grant, we have 6 parks and we had no idea which park the residents would really want to have that money go toward. Well, the people in Benton Heights showed up, they filled out their request, and it was overwhelmingly decided that that was the place that was going to happen. Benton Charter Township owns 10 acres of land out there, and that's now going to become a park. The name of the park is Butler Park.
Butler Park.
It's going to have splash pads, basketball areas, sitting areas, walking areas, you name it. This is going to be the most up-to-date park in the area.
That's great.
It's probably going to be more than $1 million, but we have some investors who said they're going to help us.
Very
so
nice.
We're looking to make this a lifetime park for our people.
That's great. Do you have a groundbreaking set?
We have not. Lisa Downing with the Berrien Community Foundation and Nancy Whitmer, they're both helping me. So they're taking the lead. We got to get our bids out to the different companies, but we're looking to get started probably sometime, I would say early 2025.
Okay, early 2025. And then last thing that we want to address this morning, if we can briefly, Chief Abrams, you've got a wheel lock program you want to talk about, and wheel locks are coming to Benton Township. Tell us a little bit about that.
So this is something I planned actually a while, even before I became chief. I spoke to my former chief, Chief Smith, about this, is that when the Kia and Hyundai thefts really started rising, I wanted to do something about it. It was just itching me just to figure out how to help families keep their vehicles. I mean, it just doesn't make sense that you have someone still in the car, that a working person needs to take their children to school, pick up groceries for the grandmother, get to doctor visits and things like that. So I did some research and I found out the best way for me to do this was actually for our community is do a steering wheel lock giveaway. It was something that I've already started on. The steering wheel locks are on their way in now. And this is so those who've had their car stolen know that Benton Township Police Department we're listening. We're not just coming after the fact. We want to do prevention work. And these steering wheel locks will be made available as soon as the next couple of weeks. What we'll do is contact some of the owners who've had their vehicle stolen, and we'll present them with a voucher to pick up their steering wheel lock from O'Reilly's.
Excellent. And we'll share information about that as well. Benton Township Supervisor Kathy Yates, Benton Township Police Department Chief Greg Abrams, thank you both for coming in today. We've got to get to ABC News here, but we appreciate everything you've shared with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The Middle East watching and waiting to see
And
what
that
happens
wraps up
next following
our
the
video
killing
live
of the
stream for
top
today. Thank
political
you very
leader
much
of
for joining us.
Hamas
We
in
appreciate you,
Iran.
and we'll see you
ABC's
tomorrow.
Matt Rivers is in Tel Aviv with the latest.
This assassination has absolutely stunned this region, an attack killing the political